everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about finding the equation of a geometric sequence. These are the two problems that we'll do, and to make sure that we don't take ourselves too seriously, let's think about the fun question. What season of the year makes you the happiest? All right, so sequences fall under Algebra 2 on the math section, and we have arithmetic and geometric represented on the test. So my guess is you'd see one or two of these, probably just one. But I have seen arithmetic and geometric on there. So you can check out the arithmetic video here too, but I just want to make sure that we understand the difference. Geometric means that the jump, I'll use say jump from one number to next requires multiplication, whereas arithmetic is when jump from one number to next requires addition of some sort. Okay, so determine if the sequence is geometric. Well, we're looking at the numbers, we're trying to figure out a trend. Let's see. So I'm noticing that these numbers are decreasing by a half. I can multiply this 32 by -1/2 and end up with the -16. I can multiply -64 by -1/2 and get +32. So I'm noticing that this, what we call common ratio, is the same every time, and it is a multiplication relationship. So that tells me it is geometric. And then it says, if it is, find the common ratio. We just did. So in the formula, a sub n, a subscript n, equals a sub 1, meaning first term, times r to the n minus 1. The common ratio is this number right here. Common ratio, as opposed to the common difference in the arithmetic sequences. A sub 1 is the first term in that list there. And the n, that's like the numbered term that you're looking for. Okay, so let's say we want the 40th term. 40 would be n. And then a sub n would be the term that you get when you plug 40 into the formula. Okay, so let's do a sub n equals, and then a sub 1 is the first term, 128. Because anytime you write an equation for one of these, it normally will ask you for the formula and or some random term. So I've seen problems on the test just like this, where it'll say, given this relationship, what would be I saw one that said, what's the 100th term? So you write your equation and then you kind of figure out what that term might be. So for geometric, the formula goes like this every time. So that is something that you need to memorize. But it is just first term times, what's the jump as you go, -1/2. And notice it's 1/2. You are dividing as you go, but you have to express that r as a number that you're multiplying by. So I chose this problem on purpose because it is a little bit harder, where you have to multiply by not only a fraction, but a negative fraction. And okay, so the n minus 1 you would keep in the formula so that you could plug in whatever term you want. I could ask somebody what the millionth term was, and it really doesn't take that long to figure out. So now we want a sub 8, we want the 8th term. meaning like, this is term 1, 2, 3, 4. We want number 8. So it is decreasing. It's going to get smaller. Equals 128 times negative 1/2. And then this is going to be 8 minus 1. We have to think about order of operations here. We cannot multiply these guys together. A lot of people think that this formula right here, which is the explicit formula, that would be just, 128 times 1/2 is 64. They would combine these together and call it negative 64 to the n minus 1. But that is not true. We cannot multiply before we do exponents. And so we have 128 here, and then negative 1/2 to the 7th happens to be negative 1 over 128. And so the final answer, a sub 8, is negative 1, meaning the 8th term is negative 1. So these formulas will help you find any term you need. The second problem is a little bit harder. We have to figure out the formula given not the first term and not the common ratio to figure it out some other way. But we know that if we are going to write the formula, eventually we'll need, these pieces of information. So we know it's going to be, a sub n equals something times something to the n minus 1. So what we have to go find is the a sub 1 and the r given whatever they give us. So they're just giving you two random terms, meaning like the second term is 6, and then the fifth term is 162. So it's like, let's just put it in order here. 6, comma, something. So this would be the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term. Okay. So I am trying to figure out like maybe the third, the fourth, the fifth. We don't know 1. That's what we need to find. And that will somehow help us figure out if I'm going from 6 to 162, we can figure out the jump from there. Well, how big is that jump? Like it was negative 1/2 in the past. So if I know that from the second to the fifth term, I'm going from 6 to 162. Well, I know that as I go, let me switch colors. As I go, I am multiplying by r. I'm multiplying by r. I'm multiplying by r. Every time you go from one number to the next. So what I could do is to figure out this r, I could write a little formula. I could say 6 times, isn't it 3 r's, is going to get us to 162. So if I divide by 6 on both sides, I get r cubed equals, and that's 27. You can use a calculator. So if r cubed is 27, that must mean that r is 3. Oh, so now this is basically times 3 times 3 times 3. And so this must be 18, and then this must be 54, and 54 times 3 is actually 162, so it works out. That must mean this is then 2, right? I can backtrack that. But let's say these numbers that we were given are just crazy high. They're, a sub 48 and a sub 62. You can use the formula, this formula, and plug in one of the givens. So let's try that. I'm going to show you that in case your numbers are big. So you would use this r now is 3. We know that. And then the a sub 1 we secretly know is 2 right here. But let's use the a sub 5 as our given. Just kind of plug that in for the a sub n. Equals a sub 1 times 3 to the n minus 1. That a sub 5 is 162. We know that. So a sub 1 times 3 to the n minus 1. I can think about, what how the left side could equal the right side, we have to remember that this n is 5. Remember the n's match? So it's like 162 equals a sub 1 times 3 to the 4th. And 3 to the 4th is 81. 162 a sub 1 times 81. So a sub 1 must be 2. There it is, 2. Okay. 2 up here. We did know that. So the final equation is 2 times 3 to the n minus 1. It also asks you for, it could ask you for any term right here. Common ratio. So it just asks us for the R and the explicit formula. It also could say, what's the 1000th term? Okay. You use the formula to generate that information. Okay. How about some practice? These problems are so similar to what we just did. Notice that these are all negative. Why don't you pause the video if you'd like to see the answers in a second. Here are the answers. The only thing that's kind of goofy about this is this a sub 1 would be 1 in that case. So you don't see that, in the final answer. Moving on to the final quote. This is constantly running through my head. You can do anything, but not everything. It's a really, really good reminder. So possibilities are endless in terms of your success. However, no one of us can do absolutely everything. So we have to keep in mind that we do not have to be perfect. Helps with ACT prep. So if you think about your fun question answer, I'd love to see them written in the comments. I'd love if you'd subscribe if you would like to see more videos. And I hope this video helped you in some way. Have a great night. Have a great day.